Elena stepped onto the platform of the Gare de l'Est, her heart fluttering with anticipation and a touch of nervous excitement. The Orient Express awaited, its steam engine puffing gently in the cold evening air, its polished coaches gleaming under the station lights. As a historian, Elena had always been fascinated by the legends and stories woven through the fabric of this iconic train. Now she was about to live one of those stories. The conductor tipped his hat as Elena handed over her ticket, her fingers brushing the cold metal of the train as she climbed aboard. The interior was as splendid as she had imagined. Plush velvet seats, mahogany panels inlaid with intricate marquetry, and soft golden lighting that cast a warm glow over everything. As the train began to move, Elena felt as though she were traveling back in time. She was here to gather material for her book, but as the landscape outside blurred into the night, she couldn't shake the feeling that this journey might offer her more than historical facts. Elena settled into her compartment, the gentle rocking of the train soothing her initial surge of excitement into a quiet, anticipatory hum. She unpacked her things, a notebook filled with research, a camera, and a few historical texts about the Orient Express. Tonight was not just about sleeping through a train ride, it was about immersing herself in living history. As the train wound its way out of Paris, the city lights fading into the distance, Elena made her way to the dining car for dinner. The car was a capsule of timeless elegance, with polished silver, crystal glassware, and white linen tablecloths, setting a scene that seemed straight out of the golden age of rail travel. The murmur of conversations filled the air, a blend of languages that hinted at the diverse origins of her fellow passengers. Elena found herself seated next to an elderly gentleman who introduced himself as Mr. Ambrose, with the sharp blue eyes and a neatly trimmed beard. Mr. Ambrose exuded an air of old-world charm and wisdom. Opposite them, a young couple, clearly enamored with each other and the adventure they were sharing, chatted excitedly about their itinerary. As courses of exquisitely prepared food arrived, crémy bisque, tenderly cooked lamb, a decadently rich chocolate dessert, Elena and Mr. Ambrose struck up a conversation. She learned that he had traveled on the Orient Express several times in his youth and was full of stories about its past. "The Orient Express is more than just a train," Mr. Ambrose said, his voice dropping to a confidential whisper. "It's a vessel carrying secrets of the past. Spies, royalty, celebrities. They've all passed through these carriages, each leaving a piece of their story behind." Intrigued, Elena asked, "Have you ever encountered anything strange or mysterious on these journeys?" Mr. Ambrose chuckled, his eyes twinkling. "My dear, every journey on the Orient Express is wrapped in mystery. But tonight, keep your eyes open. The past has a way of making itself known in unexpected ways." Returning to her compartment after dinner, Elena found a sealed envelope slipped under her door. Her name was neatly written on the front. Puzzled, she opened it to find a cryptic note. "Trust no one. The secrets you seek are closer than you think. Look beyond the surface." Chills ran down Elena's spine. Who could have left this note? And what secrets were they referring to? With a mixture of fear and excitement, she decided to explore the train. Maybe she could uncover what was meant by "look beyond the surface." The corridor was dimly lit, the soft light from the sconces casting long shadows. As she walked, the whisper of conversation and laughter from the dining car faded, replaced by the rhythmic clack of the train on the tracks. Near the end of the car, she paused. A faint murmur of voices caught her attention. Elena pressed her ear against the cold metal of the door at the end of the hallway. Inside, someone was speaking in hushed tones, a language she couldn't quite place. Curiosity now driving her actions, Elena gently turned the handle and pushed the door open a crack. Inside, a man and a woman were poring over an old map spread across a small table. They looked up abruptly as the door creaked. "Can we help you?" the woman asked, her expression a mix of surprise and caution. I'm sorry, I thought this was the way to the observation deck," Elena stammered, backing away. No, that's on the other end, the man said, a hint of relief in his voice as he stood to close the door gently but firmly in front of her. Elena walked back to her compartment, her mind racing. What was the map about, and why the secrecy? The train journey she'd imagined as a peaceful historical inquiry was turning into something far more intriguing. As she lay in her bed later that night, the train's steady rumble a constant presence, Elena knew one thing for sure. This journey on the Orient Express was going to be unlike any she had experienced before. As sleep began to overtake her, she couldn't help but feel that the mysterious note had been right. The secrets were indeed closer than she thought, and she was right in the middle of them. As dawn broke, Elena awoke with a start, the events of the previous night replaying in her mind. Determined to understand the mystery surrounding the cryptic note and the secretive couple with the map, she decided to seek out Mr. Ambrose. Perhaps with his history on the train, he could shed some light on what might be happening. After a light breakfast in her compartment, Elena found Mr. Ambrose in the lounge car, reading a newspaper by the window. The early morning light streamed in, casting golden hues over the antique furnishings. Mr. Ambrose looked up and smiled warmly as Elena approached. "Good morning, Miss Elena. How did you find your first night on the Orient Express?" he inquired, folding his newspaper. "It was intriguing," Elena replied, taking a seat beside him. "Actually, I wanted to ask you about something. Have you ever come across anything unusual on this train?" Mr. Ambrose's eyes twinkled with curiosity. "Unusual is quite the norm on the Orient Express, my dear, but what specifically has caught your attention?" Elena described the secretive couple and the mysterious note. As she spoke, Monsieur Ambrose's expression turned serious. "Ah, you've stumbled upon the lesser-known aspect of this train's legacy. The Orient Express was not just a train for travel, but also a conduit for secrets during the wars." "You mean espionage?" Elena leaned in, her interest piqued. "Exactly," Mr. Ambrose nodded. "During both world wars, the train was a labyrinth of clandestine activities, spies, messages, even hidden compartments for smuggling items or people across borders." Elena's mind raced. "Do you think that's what's happening now? Smuggling? It's unlikely in our times, but old habits and rituals die hard. Perhaps what you witnessed is a reenactment or someone indulging in a bit of role-playing nostalgia. Or maybe," he paused, "it's something more contemporary, cloaked in historical intrigue." Determined to learn more, Elena decided to approach the couple directly. She found them again in the same compartment, the door slightly ajar this time. Taking a deep breath, she knocked politely. The woman opened the door, her expression less guarded than the night before. "Yes? Oh, it's you again. Come in, please." Elena stepped inside, her eyes immediately drawn to the map still spread out on the table. "I'm sorry for the intrusion last night. I'm just very curious about what you were discussing. It seemed important." The man stood and offered his hand. "I'm Alex, and this is my wife Marina. We're historians like you, though perhaps a bit more adventurous." Marina smiled. "We're on a sort of treasure hunt, you could say, following a trail that's supposed to lead to a lost artifact believed to have been transported on this very route." Intrigued, Elena joined them at the table. "What sort of artifact?" "It's said to be a part of a royal collection lost during the chaos of World War II, Alex explained. "According to our research, it was last documented on the Orient Express, hidden in a secret compartment." The conversation turned from cautious to collaborative as they shared notes and theories. Elena, with her background in historical research, offered insights into the time periods and political climates that might have influenced the artifact's disappearance. As the train rolled on, passing through scenic landscapes and historic cities, the trio developed a plan to search the train based on old schematics Alex and Marina had uncovered. They explored, probed, and eventually, to their astonishment, found a hidden panel in one of the older carriages. Inside, though they did not find the artifact, they discovered a collection of old documents and items that had been concealed, perhaps forgotten for decades. The find was significant enough to merit further study and preservation. As the train neared Istanbul, Elena felt a profound sense of accomplishment and connection. Not only had she uncovered a piece of history, but she had also formed a new bond with fellow seekers of the past. Upon arrival, the three disembarked, promising to stay in touch and perhaps collaborate on future endeavors. Elena took one last look at the Orient Express, grateful for the mysterious journey that had brought so much more than she had anticipated. As she walked away, the cryptic note's message echoed in her mind, a reminder that history is often closer and more alive than one might think. Excited by their discovery aboard the Orient Express, Elena, Alex, and Marina agreed to meet in Istanbul a few days later to analyze the documents and items they had found hidden in the secret compartment. Their find, while not the lost artifact they initially sought, held potential clues to numerous unresolved historical narratives from the World War II era. Elena spent the intervening days at a small research library in Istanbul, diving into historical records and old newspapers to glean any information that might relate to their find. She cross-referenced dates, names, and events, trying to piece together the story of the documents and personal items they had uncovered. When they reconvened, each brought their own pieces of the puzzle. Alex had contacted a colleague who specialized in European royal history, hoping to identify the potential origin of some of the more ornate items. Marina, meanwhile, had been examining the physical attributes of the documents, paper type, ink, handwriting styles, to establish a rough timeline. Their breakthrough came when Elena discovered an obscure reference in a diplomatic cable stored in the National Archives, indicating that a cache of sensitive documents had been transported via the Orient Express as a clandestine courier during the war. The descriptions matched several of the items they had discovered. This revelation suggested that their find was not merely personal items, but part of a significant historical transfer of intelligence or valuables. The trio decided to collaborate on a paper detailing their discovery and the implications it held for understanding the covert operations conducted during World War II. They also planned an exhibition in collaboration with a historical museum where the items could be displayed, providing context to the public about the role of the Orient Express in wartime activities. As they worked together, Elena reflected on how the journey on the Orient Express had changed her perspective on history. It was no longer just about dates and events, but about the real human experiences behind those facts. She felt a renewed passion for making history accessible and engaging to the public. The success of their exhibition led to invitations to speak at conferences and participate in documentaries, focusing on historical transportation methods and their roles in global events. Elena, Alex, and Marina became not just colleagues, but good friends, bonded by their shared love for history and adventure. As the exhibition opened, Elena stood back and watched as visitors marveled at the items and documents, now carefully preserved and displayed with detailed descriptions of their probable journey on the Orient Express. The public's keen interest and the lively discussions that ensued confirmed to Elena that history was alive and as mysterious and engaging as any fiction. Their night on the Orient Express had started as a simple trip and turned into a gateway to uncovering hidden stories, proving that every journey has the potential to go beyond mere travel and into the realm of discovery.